February 6th, The Impact. We're coming at you with some serious news. Sebastian.
Thank you, Darren. Well, welcome to the Impact, guys. Darren and myself here this week. And
Pleasure.
It's always, yes, it's always good.
I've known this guy forever.
Exactly. So this is going to be fun, and hopefully Travis will be back next week, and then all three of us can have fun and try and make the Impact a little more lighthearted with all the wacky news in the geek world.
Travis is like, you put him in between the two of us, and it's a fun sandwich.
It is. It's very fun. So what we got? A big thing. I guess the biggest news, Daredevil trailer came out this week.
You check that thing out?
I did, and quite enjoyable. Charlie Cox from Boardwalk Empire.
And also The Theory of Everything.
So very exciting news, and it looks good.
Well, it's interesting because when you brought up Boardwalk Empire and then The Theory of Everything, he plays like literally diametrically opposed characters in those two, in that movie and in that show. So the range that he's bringing to Daredevil, I think,
it works. He's not going to be very stiff.
The only thing I had a little bit of concern about was how they show his radar sense. I didn't get a great sense from watching that.
All they did was sort of blur his background a bit.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they'll do something more in-depth later.
But I think even more exciting than Charlie Cox is Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah.
The casting of Vincent D'Onofrio as the Kingpin.
He's an amazing actor, and he slowly became the Kingpin regardless.
Over time, a method actor who over a 25-year period
just
attained the girth necessary
to become not only a great actor, but the Kingpin. So we just had to wait, really.
So you were mentioning that. So you think that the costume is going to sort of remain how it was in the Frank Miller,
the Romita
Jr. Daredevil Man Without Fear miniseries?
I think so. I get the feeling that that's going to be the one that you can sell to people right away. And I don't know, especially because the show's only 10 or 13 episodes, but I get the feeling we won't see the red suit until the very end. We may see variations on the suit over the course of the show, but they've been selling us on the black ninja-style suit with the...
Well, everything is... I mean, the whole color palette of the thing is very dark.
Right, and I think you save the red costume to the very end.
It looks like Serpico.
Yeah,
it looks
a lot like it.
It looks like 70s, a lot of 70s movies to me, like... No, well, that's not a 70s movie. To Live and Die in L.A. is not a 70s movie.
No,
but no, I was thinking of French Connection and like Serpico.
Yeah.
A lot of the Friedkin stuff.
Very tight shots.
Yeah.
And I like that when they showed the fighting, they didn't do a lot of close-ups. They cut to the very end of whatever the battle was, but I don't...
And the sound effects were somewhat muted. They weren't overdone like... kind of type of
with bone breaking and over-exaggerated people like
Yeah. What was that again? Yeah, I don't know. It seems like firmly rooted in the sort of realism realm. A little bit of the noir type of tip to it.
Yeah, and I think that's good because they have the movies right now, which are Iron Man, Cap, Hulk. They've got the big imaginations and all the big budget characters, but with Daredevil, you can I think use it as a good way to step back and be like, okay, this is the big world of supervillainy.
Well, I would argue that
what happens on the streets.
Yeah, I'd argue that Daredevil didn't work as a movie in the first place because you can't compress the story, the sort of whole death of Elektra and Kingpin story into such a short period of time.
Yeah, you've only got like an hour and 42 hours to do it.
You'd almost need 3 movies to do it well.
Right, and then to just not touch too much, like the stuff with his father is also really important stuff.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm excited, and then from then on we get AKA Jessica Jones, because I assume they can't use Alias because of the J.J. Abrams TV show.
Yeah.
We've got Luke Cage and Iron Fist and then the Defenders.
Are they doing Luke Cage and Iron Fist together?
2 separate shows.
Ah.
And then they come together in the Defenders.
Okay, but I kind of...
Yeah, they need to be a team.
I like when they were heroes for hire. Like
Yeah.
It was the 2 dudes.
And that, you know, because these characters can cross over, maybe they'll save that for the end of whichever show comes last before the Defenders. They meet up. Then you have the Defenders starting, and they're a team.
So the Defenders thing's already a done deal. That's
Yeah. These 4 characters will be the Marvel Universe Defenders for the movie.
And Daredevil's going to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All the Netflix shows are not unlike what DC is doing, where apart from the CW shows that can coexist.
Yeah.
But you've got shows like Constantine, which can't really touch on anywhere. And they've got Supergirl coming out, which they've said they may be able to do something, but that's whatever contract or deal they work out. But the Marvel
Sounds
movie,
confusing.
it's very confusing because there's a lot of things that you can't really do or say.
Because I think it would create the feeling...
And the movies, too.
Yeah, it would create the feeling like, well, this doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, why should I watch this because this doesn't matter? The movie version is going to be the version that matters.
Yeah, and this is a perfect segue because they just announced the potential lineup for the Teen Titans show.
Oh, right.
Which is Nightwing, Oracle, not Batgirl, but Oracle specifically.
So there's a character that's going to be Oracle, but it's not going to be Barbara Gordon.
They didn't say not Barbara Gordon. They just said Oracle. And I would operate under the assumption that it is Barbara Gordon, but not Batgirl.
Okay.
And I can understand that, especially since it's also Starfire and Raven, and then Hawk and Dove. And the image that I believe the Nerdist used was Hank Hall and Dawn Granger. So it's the girl Dove and the male Hawk.
Well, I just think the best way to use those characters would be to have a Fox News, MSNBC type of vibe.
Yeah.
Like Rachel Maddow.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And like Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah,
just like a really hard.
Ultra-liberal, ultra-conservative. And that's it.
I think it would be. I think it'd be fun. You could have a lot of fun with those characters.
You could totally deal with that. And that's something that, like, they're doing the Green Arrow show, and a lot of people love Green Arrow, but I feel like the character itself is sort of missing that, like, long-haired hippie freak aspect to him.
I miss it.
Yeah, and it's, you know, as much as, you know, there's a lot going on in the show, I feel like that's such a big part that Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams brought to the character.
Well, that's before that. Like, it's not like, before that. Green Lantern wasn't really what I would call like a conservative, middle of the road guy. But Denny O'Neil just kind of made that decision.
Yeah,
and but it worked.
It did work really well. So I would actually be interested to see that, especially because you've got the pacifist nature of Dove, and then the warlike nature of Hawk, and
well, and the thing is to also and the thing is that being a pacifist doesn't mean you're a pussy,
right?
You know what I mean? Like it doesn't mean you're not a warrior of sorts. It just means you don't believe violence is the answer.
Yeah, no, and they did in Justice League Unlimited. They did a great job handling.
Well, no, if you see the recent Selma and you see how like Martin Luther King, it's not like when those guys were getting beaten on the bridge like they were wimps.
Right. They were still standing up for something, and it's a good. I think that's a good exploration of that kind of dichotomy for characters. And I hope they do it. It's on TNT. And most notably, absent from the Teen Titans, is there's no Beast and no Cyborg.
Money.
Yeah,
they just can't. They can't spend the money every week to light up.
Right, and I feel like Oracle is the obvious choice for a replacement for Cyborg.
Because we would get like Manimal. So every time Beast Boy changed into something, it would be the stock shot of like an eagle,
a basic transformation,
an eagle and a tiger, and then it would it would be whatever really tired tiger they had at the zoo that they could
just limp around the set.
I'm convinced that Manimal probably would have lasted longer. He could have found a range of animals,
wider range.
Yeah, wider range.
You get cheaper animals. You get mice. And hamsters and bugs, dogs, small dogs,
like a pug,
and then have them walk around and save the day. But yeah, so they're gone. I think Oracle is the replacement. I think for Cyborg being the sort of the tech, the overseer.
Well, I always thought they shouldn't have gotten rid of Oracle. I thought here you have a character that is disabled in a wheelchair.
Right.
and part of the superhero universe.
Right, and still capable of affecting change, and in a world, I guess in a universe where in a world where characters are stagnant for decades at times, to see such an evolution of a character, especially from an out of continuity story.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool to see they're going that route in the live action.
Right, and she's Barbara Gordon is still the Oracle in the video games, the Arkham games, which one is coming out later this year, and they've actively chosen, like, Oracle is the perfect kind of Batman help.
Sounds like they might change their mind again.
Maybe.
Comic book universe.
When they did the New 52, I had my money on robot legs as the explanation.
That's I don't know. Then there wasn't a good enough explanation for that.
Yeah, and lastly, Bendis is leaving the X-Men.
Does that surprise you?
No,
really, because he really wasn't. When he goes on a property, he usually stays on at least like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, but I feel like he sort of stays on the stuff that's his baby, more so than anything else. And as much as I liked, his all new X-Men, I feel like that was not something that only Bendis could have done.
Okay, so Bendis. So we know Bendis isn't going to be on the X-Men. We don't know as of yet.
Right.
Who's taking over the X-Men, or what shape the X universe is going to have
after this.
Because this is, it's something that bears discussion, because Marvel now is going, how much money do we want to put behind these characters in the comic book if another studio owns the rights to that character? And
it's something that I think that, they've got Fantastic Four, they've got the X-Men out, and Spider-Man. And Spider-Man is a moneymaker, no matter what. Arguably, probably their most profitable character. There would be no fear in any sort of marketing for Spider-Man, because you're going to make the money. Toys, TV shows.
But even in that case, the last Sony Spidey sequel did not perform.
No, not in the way they had hoped.
To standards.
No, not at all. And I feel bad because I thought Andrew Garfield was a really good Spider-Man.
I think he is too, but I get the feeling that we're not going to see him again.
That upsets me more. Tobey Maguire, neither here nor there, but he was good.
Yeah,
him and Emma Stone were the best things about those movies.
So now that so Bendis isn't going to be doing the X-Men, but what do you think he's going to be doing?
I think creator-owned stuff is the big stuff, because he's now contracted too, which was also the other caveat of the announcement.
Yeah.
In that he's not doing the X-Men, but he is contracted to Marvel for another couple of years exclusively, which the exclusivity deals just reminds me of old Hollywood.
The funny thing is, I don't think it has anything to do with them having a fear of him going to DC.
Right.
I think it's more based in a fear of him doing image books.
Right, which a lot of creators are doing.
Because if you think of all those guys that came in at the same time as Bendis, like Brubaker and a million other people that came in at the same time, like they're all doing image books now.
Right. They've all got. And even he's been doing his Icon work. He had Scarlet for a while.
I think we might see a lot of Icon work.
Yeah, and he's still doing Powers, and he's got a show for Powers coming out, but it's exclusive to the Sony PlayStation network, so it's not.
That leaves me out.
Yeah, it's not a mass market television show, so it's interesting to see, especially with that, and then. More Marvel news, especially that they're going to be announcing something for Secret Wars on The View, which they did for the female Thor. They made the big announcement there. Yeah, the Secret Wars thing, which is kind of funny because I feel this whole thing started because they said we've got to kill the Ultimate Universe. And there's been a lot of talk about the Ultimate Universe disappearing for a really long time. I remember when they just did this last story, the post-Age of Ultron, where, spoilers for people out there, Ultron messes with time, and he sends Galactus to the Ultimate Universe, and Galactus is actually successful for once.
Yeah.
and
wipes out most everybody.
Yeah, and they're sort of left with nothing left in the Ultimate Universe, save for Spider-Man and a few B-level heroes here and there. And then we've got the possible end with Secret Wars. Now we've got Battle World, so... And we've also been dealing with all the Spider-Men and Spider-Man that Dan Slott's been writing.
Well, I think we're definitely going to see the end of the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah, it served its purpose admirably.
Totally, yes. I think, I don't know how it's Bill Jemas,
I think maybe it is Bill.
who is the guy who started it, deserves a big shout out from across the time stream.
Yeah, that the experiment worked, and that's a good way to get. If they're going to kill off characters, you can just use the ultimate counterparts.
Yeah,
and it'd be interesting to see what they do with that. Now that they're going to be doing whatever the announcement for Secret Wars is, because it's not a reboot, it's not a restart. They're not.
I think Marvel's smart enough not to do that.
No, and they've as much as said it that we're not erasing continuity or anything like that. And I get the feeling that they're going to be using it as a chance to, like, okay, this character died in the 70s. Okay, let's bring him back, but it's him from Earth 2765 or whatever.
That can be actually a lot of fun.
Right. And it not only maintains the history of the character, but then you can do new things.
Like, I want Stingray brought back.
Yeah, Stingray, and I would
bring back Stingray.
And if you listen to our podcast, I was talking about how I get the feeling Steve, who is now elderly, is going to die from old age, or saving the day, and then you can just pull Steve from another universe where he just got blown up in World War II and is a case of ice.
Oh, that's smart.
And now you get to do the Man Out of Time all over again, but not lose the legacy of the Steve Rogers everybody knows and loves.
That's classic.
Oh, thank you.
It's classic. Good work.
So yeah, that's what I'm getting the feeling. Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. It's
You know what I'm getting the feeling?
What's
I'm getting the feeling that we're coming to the end.
I think so. I think we're coming to the end of this.
And I'm starting to feel that I love you.
Oh, I love you too, man.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, no problem. It's all about love. It's all about friendship is magic, as the cool kids say.
Friendship is magic.
Friendship is magic. So thank you for watching The Impact, and catch us next week. Hopefully Travis will be back. And if you like this video and want to see more, hit the subscribe, give us a like, and follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.